Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Commentary is Magic's stream. Tonight is November 12th, 2017, and I am, as always, Grandpaws.
I'm Emperor Bugle.
Big Cheese.
Arquette and
Living Silver.
We're all glad to be here just a week away from pre-release. Who's excited?
Yeah.
I am.
not a
Oh my
peep out
gosh.
of Bugle after him going ballistic.
He must not be excited.
Are you nerve-excited? Is that a
Have you
word?
never been so excited?
I think he's frozen in headlights. He's so excited.
That's awfully excited.
Well, for tonight, we have a special little treat for many players all across the country, world, I guess, whoever may be watching right now, who will also be going to pre-releases as well. Pre-release is a fun time to be able to try all kinds of new cards that you may or may not have seen before and interesting styles of deck building, but they can be kind of hard, can't they?
It depends a little bit.
Dude, you just take all the cards you get, sleeve them up, and play.
Mash them in the pile, call it good to go.
Yeah.
That sounds like
Including the
pretty
problems. You stick the problems in your deck too.
The decks can be as big as you want them, right?
And the mains.
I mean, there's a finite limit here, but if you roll up to my table and you've got two mains, I have some questions.
Is the first one Judge?
Yes, it is.
Okay, just checking. Yeah, Limited is a lot of fun, but it is very different than trying to build a constructed deck, and that can be a stumbling block for quite a few players, and of all experience levels too, because it is such a dramatic shift. What do you do if you've got cards that are very desirable to play in two different colors, but you don't have a lot of entry? What do you do if you have a lot of entry, but not much else to follow that up with? What if you have 3 copies of one particular card, but it costs 5? You wouldn't necessarily run that in Constructed all the time, but you might in Limited. There's all kinds of questions. And so that's what we're going to try to figure out tonight. Ara, take us through what we're going to be doing today.
Well, since the Sequestria pre-release is next weekend, we're going to be talking about building limited decks from sealed pools. For those of you unfamiliar with the format, you'll get 8 packs from Sequestria in the pre-release's case, and build a 30-card draw deck with a 5-card problem deck. Both the draw deck and the problem deck need to be built from the packs that you've opened, and possibly also a few more problem or main proxies provided by the tournament organizer.
Oh, when you said sealed pools, I was thinking swimming pools with the covers still on them.
Get out.
Boo!
This makes more sense.
I guess
Boo
it
this
would.
man. Well, I should rather hope so, because, there's no cards unless you, of course, yourself are in the pool. You card.
I see what you did. It's a good pun. You should also be booed for that one.
Yeah, I probably should. That was pretty awful.
So, we don't necessarily know which cards are going to be available as proxies for Sequestria pre-release, right?
We do not at this point, correct.
Okay.
It's based on previous pre-releases, it's likely that any mains and any problems introduced in the new set would be allowed as proxies, possibly including some of the older mains, like the Equestrian Odysseys ones or the Equestrian Odysseys problems. But we shall have to see, and your store should get a little document with the pre-release kits explaining what's up.
Okay.
Anyway.
So we get 8 packs. That's just 8 boosters. What am I supposed to do with that?
Well, you're supposed to build a reasonable deck with it. But the thing here is that building a reasonable deck is kind of hard if you're unfamiliar with this. And doing well in limited formats is often less about how good of a pilot you are, and more about your ability to build a deck from, such a small set of cards. Doing this can be challenging, especially since limited isn't very popular in most groups, and most players, as a result, haven't had a lot of chances to practice.
That's true. If your stores aren't necessarily running draft events or sealed events, or you're not able to attend multiple conventions, pre-releases might be some of the only time you actually have to play in limited format events.
And I highly suggest trying draft if you have enough people to do it. It's very fun.
It's so much fun.
Another thing you can always try is if anyone buys booster boxes, you've got a ton of sealed packs in that way, and you can gather 4 at a minimum of your friends and do your own limited sealed event that way.
It's a good way to get some practice in. Split the cost between people, it's not too bad.
Right?
Especially if you're doing what's called a phantom draft, where one person brings cards and then all cards go to them at the end.
So if we're going to be talking about Sequestria pre-release, which is here this next weekend, then that means that we're going to be doing examples with those packs, right? Like we got all the cards
Clearly.
now?
No, no. Unfortunately, we can't do that. We can't do a Sequestria pre-release, but what we can do is take a 96 card Defenders of Equestria sealed pool, the previous set, and make a limited deck out of it. We did characterize the packs well enough to be able to produce pretty accurate sealed pools here. So there are a couple of strategies when you're making a limited deck. The first of which is subtractive building, where we start with all 96 of those cards and remove things that we don't want until our decks are down to their minimum size. The other thing that we can do is we can do an additive strategy, where we look at our sealed pool and take the things that we do want and move those aside, and then build a new deck out of the things that we do want until we reach the minimum deck sizes. So both of these strategies are perfectly viable, and use whichever one is more comfortable to you, but we'll be using the subtractive process where we take cards away simply because it's easier for us to stream.
Makes sense. We can look at things to cut rather than having to go back and forth and find slots to add in. It can be more overwhelming that way anyway. At least that's how I feel about it.
I don't know. I tend to
You can
prefer it.
also mix both of the strategies when you're building.
This is true. Most of the time you're doing an additive strategy in Constructed, and then you end up with 53 cards, and need to remove some cards until you're back down to 45.
That's fair. It's certainly better than putting all 96 in one massive pile and just going from there, especially since you may have issues not separating your problems and main characters out. So, do we actually have a sealed pool we can look at then?
He says his technical trickery is going on. Okay. So we've done the equivalent of opening up 6 packs of Defenders of Equestria here.
6 or 8.
Let us do. On Ponyhead, we do have the advantage of having the color and requirement statistics
I generally sort by color, then multicolor cards in one pile, colorless cards in one pile, mains and problems.
I also split out events and resources. It's a lot of entry.
That's
also-
true.
Looking carefully at the histograms here, we also have a little bit of yellow entry, a little bit of white entry, and a little bit of purple entry. This
And
Ba-
depending on your main, you can also include the ones.
Yes, you can include the ones in some cases. You're wrecking my flow here, man.
Sorry.
As Cheese mentioned, we do have a handful of cards with only one rec in yellow, white, purple, and blue.
So the fact that we have that colorless entry is actually going to prove to be a big boon here, since we're not necessarily going to play a lot of cards just off of our main's one Rick on their start side.
True.
It would also seem that having a lot of colorless entry would suggest more of the additive style of approaching deck building as well, because then you can take, the power cards that you do want to play and not have to worry about getting them into play.
I think a hybrid style is a common tactic for most players. You're not necessarily going to start cutting colors left and right. You'll find certain pieces that you definitely want to play with. And to change your style based on what you open in a sealed pool may be a little jarring for some people. But, whatever people find most comfortable. So Omnipotent Raspberry says that there's only 2 pink friends, and he's right. There are, well...
We'll get to that. But let's talk about a couple of fundamental things first. Generally speaking, you can't put combo together, so almost regardless of what strategy you choose, you do need to confront in order to score points, and confronting normally means that you need to play friends. Any kind of friends, even ones that don't get you anything other than just, a pony with a little bit of There is a suggestion from some of the purple and white cards that we have, Spoons, for example, and Sunset Shimmer over here. Strategy.
Right. Without a method of event-based recursion, and for that matter, a lot of good control events in this pool as well, we don't really have a method shy of troublemakers of protecting problems and preventing opponents from confronting in a limited environment. And so with us only having one troublemaker in this pool, even if that troublemaker does come back, if we don't have that and we can't rely on friends that will, for some other method, prevent opponents from confronting, then our control style is not going to function well. Especially not with what the purple main does in this particular set.
Not that we know anything about that.
No.
Well, DOE.
Yes, DOE. Speaking of Professor Twilight.
Yes.
Of the 2 colors, we do have 3 yellow entry, which suggests that we should run Rainbow as the main rather than Fluttershy. Fluttershy would probably also work, but it'll be harder to get into blue with her than it would be to get into yellow with Rainbow. There's also a pair of blue dilemmas.
Don't you mean burrito attack?
Yeah, this is something that may be a little unintuitive. even though we've got a lot of yellow cards and a lot more that we can play right at the beginning, we're actually going to be playing that main that Ara said that is not in that color, and that's because entry can be played regardless of what the deck actually is, just like Ara was saying. So even though you might have a tendency to normally think, I've got more yellow friends, I'll play a yellow main, you actually kind of want to do the opposite if you've got a bunch of cards that don't have that requirement.
On the other hand, orange is a little bit more interesting. We don't have entry, but we do have double diamond over here, as well as Big Mac and AJ, both of which will function just fine when they're in the discard pile, as well as
Yeah, if we start looking at some of the purple and white cards that we have, obviously Ara already mentioned Sunset Shimmer is very good. Two Zakoras is also quite good as well. Twilight Sparkle and Rarity Exposed and Spike, Garbuncle, unfortunately, both have synergies with Troublemakers, of which we don't have any. And 3 copies of Gladmane in white aren't doing us any favors either. It is a bit of a shame to lose access to pink, but we really didn't get the support for it. A good thing to do is to look at the official card reference or the OCR for a set when it comes out so you know what the various pieces are, at least until you become familiar with the cards yourself. And you can get an idea of what effects you think might be strongest in limited that would also be at low rarities. For DOE, some of those happen to be in pink with cards like Berry Punch and Orange Swirl and Belly Flop, which are both at common.
We got neither. So why aren't we running Devil Babby?
because we ain't got no pink entry. I mean, we could have pink entry if you wanted, but generally speaking, we don't have great consistency in getting our one Devil Babby.
Oh yeah, that consistency thing.
Alright, apologies for the microphone. I'm having fun technical issues here.
Okay, so we're going primarily yellow and blue with an orange splash for now. And we're leaving the entry from all the colors, like you said. Godo, we do have Two Citizens and Flim and Flams as well as Join the Herd. We could play just about any color that we wanted, but we have more consistency in orange simply because we have double copies of Big Mac and Applejack with Experienced and 2 copies of Hooffields and McColts, which can synergize very well with our critter strategies. We could play just about any other card that we wanted if we were willing to give up some of that entry to do so. But of those, the only ones that would really be interesting would be Mary Mare, who would really be our only pink card and only supports 1 copy of Funny Business and 1 copy of Pinky's Present. Or maybe running some Zakoras and then hoping the opponent doesn't have ways to deal with them. It's more a matter of looking at what's going to synergize with the blue-yellow playstyle that we already have built up and going.
We're at 40, 46 cards right now. Hey, we're like under a constructed deck.
That's pretty good progress. We're not quite there yet. We still need to cut a full 13 cards. And tell us, why are we cutting down to 30 exactly? The power of consistency?
Well,
Almost as
about
powerful as the powerful of love.
There's no cadence here. What if?
Dang.
what about flexibility? What if I really need that Devil Babby?
You don't. You don't really need that Devil Babby. There is technically one reason that you might want to run slightly more than 30 cards, specifically in DOE limited, and that's just because Sweetie Belle is an uncommon. Overcosted? Yep, overcosted, underpowered.
5 AT.
Now, why are we getting rid of Turning Point, which only costs 1, when Friends Are Always There costs 2?
Yeah, Friends Are Always There can throw some critter tokens into play that has synergy with the Maccults, as well as dismissing a resource, which can be hugely powerful in limited.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more because Starlight is freaking out in that card, and she's trying to be nice in the other one.
Yeah, but we just cut our queen.
That is true.
How do you...
Bears.
We actually have one other method of challenging troublemakers here. A Changeling can change can also allow us to challenge in the main phase. So, like Ara said, plenty of methods of challenging.
Yeah.
Yep. So just counting Friends Are Always There, A Changeling Can Change, and the 2 blue dilemmas, we're at 5 methods of TM busting right now, outside of normal.
Which is quite nice. Like, sometimes that can be quite problematic in sealed, is getting around troublemakers.
No kidding.
So get rid of 5 more? Or 6 more?
Well, Cheerleader is like Bugle's favorite card art-wise.
True, but she's not really doing what we need for this deck. We're planning on having most of our characters have problems anyway, and the hardest part about her for us to play is she's not that impactful on her own, and she's in both of our off colors. Our main is blue in this case.
Yep. Makes total sense. But the art.
Yeah, that flip was fun during pre-release.
It's even more fun when our main is boosted and he's actually a 7.
Yeah, he flips for 7 sometimes in the right circumstances. It's especially when your opponent wasn't considering all that. And it's like, oh, you flipped a 2. It's like, no, I flipped a 7.
I flipped a very large number there, bub.
Especially if it's your second flip of the face-off.
Oh, we actually forgot to count one other TM busting. Wildfire can also do that.
Yes, she can.
Oh, yeah. Well, furthermore, if we're playing a blue main, that is not going to be doing terribly much confronting. I mean, it's nice to have the power boost early game if you happen to have trouble flipping your main, but after that, I mean, from what I understand in playing Rainbow Dash decks, that you just kind of sit back at home and let your friends do all the work.
It depends on what friends you have access to. Because we've got a couple Shining Armors that are Swift, and because we've got a lot of token generation with Whofields and McCults, not to mention big power with things like Changeling Citizens, we've often got better choices for what characters to get up to problems than just using our 3 power main for 2 AT to move.
Right. Meaning that boosting it to 4 with Double Diamond is not effective at all, really.
Right. Or at least not as much as it could be if we were going yellow as a primary color, and we could end up boosting Fluttershy, who can remain at home and still get a lot of the benefit from Double Diamond.
Exactly.
We're running No in the Temple of Chikamontauk, but it's so good.
But tokens. But tokens. Of course.
I mean,
Trading
but-
Traditions does
Yeah, I was
too.
going to say Trading Traditions.
Yeah, but it's an amazing card.
That's fair. Yep, we want our problems to be as easy to confront as possible. Because we are going to have a lot of small characters due to token generation, we don't want to be running incredibly difficult problems. And in Limited, with problem face-offs happening as often as they do, having high bonus point problems for an aggro deck isn't necessarily as important as making sure you can actually be confronting them. It is still good.
I just realized Thrash the Throne also has a lower confront for the opponent than
Yes, it
for
does.
the main player.
So after all that, here's what we've got. As far as limited decks go, this isn't too shabby.
I'd be really happy playing this, even without the belly flops.
Oh no, it looks like it's lacking Night Gliders and RTOs.
Yeah, where's your Ever Vigilance, man? Come on.
It's a darn shame you didn't get any of those in your pool, huh?
Yeah.
I think you might end up with some judge calls if you were running those in here.
Possibly.
Now, there is one thing that kind of stands out here, and some people might question it, and that would be, we have that one troublemaker that we drew, and we're running it. Why?
TMs are good.
And-
TMs are good. And more than that, Skeleton Soldiers has no point value, so our opponent gains nothing outside of Diligent for defeating it. And it comes back to our hand. If we ever find that one troublemaker and our opponent doesn't somehow permanently get rid of it, we're just keeping it forever.
Plus, if we go first, we can play it if we happen to have it in our opening hand. It's also really good at preventing them from confronting on their own concerning cutie marks.
We just didn't end up with a lot of ways to do it in this pool. But we did get one, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, but then your opponent's gonna get Mod Mac, and then they're just gonna combo you out. It's gonna be awesome.
Again, I'll be making some judge calls if my opponent ends up with Princess for a Knight. Yeah, probably. Overall, very solid, though. I like the two Cloud Chaser and Flitters. Duplicate cards that have strong capability or strong playability in limited formats are one of the first places I look when I'm deciding what I'd like to play. I try to see what I can play that's going to be as consistent as possible, and that's also going to help me do the typical limited format thing of confront problems faster or better than my opponent. And CC and Flitter, pretty dang good at doing that.
Yep.
Whofields and the Colts also do a lot of work.
It is
Not-
nice that there's two of those.
That's a great card, limited. Especially if those critters are already at your home, and then they get to move for free, essentially.
Well, they get to go away.
Well, the power shifts without paying for it.
Yes. Yeah, I would be very happy to run a deck like this.
That might be a fun game to have the same pool and then two players build and then fight with those decks built from the same pool.
Well, remember, in a limited event, you are not restricted to keeping your deck the same between your games. If you want, and your deck isn't performing in your first game, you can totally alter it however you want using cards from that same limited pool, and if need be, completely reconstruct it.
So, taking a step back here, or several steps back, what we're really trying to say here is that building an effective limited deck requires being able to look at your sealed pool and decide which archetype and color or combinations thereof will be most likely to perform. You need to look at things like which colors can you get into, which
Go ahead.
which colors have high-end and powerful cards. Does one color have ways to disrupt an opponent's aggro game? Can you pursue a control strategy with your cards? Which main helps your deck strategy? Does it also help with entry? How easy is it to flip that main? And,
That's a big one.
and are there higher level synergies between colors or with multicolor cards that you can exploit? Now, let's test your knowledge and see what you've learned so far.
What color should we play in DOE?
It's obviously blue.
Pink. Who was our main from this last sealed build?
Rainbows.
Please use one word to describe the look on your opponent's face when you flip that shining armor for 7.
Anger. No.
Yay.
Yay. Okay, no, we're not actually going to play Pink Fluffy Unicorns, but what we are going to do is surprise sealed pool.
What? I wasn't prepared for this.
No, you weren't. Neither was I.
wasn't prepared for this.
So let's take a look at this thing.
Can we look now?
Yes, you
Yes.
can look now.
Oh, I see a nice card.
You know what? Well, yeah, I see several nice cards. Some of them being pink.
I do see some pink ones. In fact, I see probably my 4 favorite pink cards in this entire set.
Does it have the event? Yes, it does have the event.
It does. Does it have any multicolor support? It does. It has 2
Wait,
rainbow
did you
shines and a
just-
tender taps.
Did you just count Devil Babby as one of your favorite pink cards?
No, funny
Oh
business.
no, you're counting Pinky's Present. Okay.
No, I like, well, yeah, that or funny business. Oh yeah, there's a Pinky's Present there too. That's on the next slide. 5 favorite.
Okay.
No, I'm not counting Devil Babby. What kind of monster do you take me for? All right, so why don't we move through this at the same step-by-step process that we did for the previous pool? So I think the first thing we looked for was generic entry, right, Ara? All right.
Join the herd.
Yep. I see 2 join the herds and a changeling citizens.
So a bit less than the last pool.
How are we on entry across the multiple colors?
Yeah,
though?
we should take a look at the chart.
We're more diverse than we were last time. We've got Yep, we've still got the holiday spirit.
Yep.
That's pretty good. Not a ton of troublemakers. 3 troublemakers might be a little difficult to try to do control with that, though we do have 1 skeleton soldiers, and all our TMs are 0 bonus, so that is nice.
I was just thinking barricade will cover 2 problems.
Yeah, barricade's not bad.
Con in the Con Pony also works very well in limited for TM busting that the opponents may play.
Yeah, but it's a little more difficult for us to confront than the blue dilemma, unfortunately. It requires a 6 instead of a 4, although it does have a 2 bonus to make up for that. And we are in enough yellow to do that, not to mention the fact that we did get Mr. and Mrs. Shy, who is outstanding in a limited environment.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Swift at home. Yeah, no, that's crazy.
In fact, that's how I won the Crazy Squirrel limited event with the Shies.
Man, I see 2 copies of Defenders of Equestria in here as well. I'm thinking like yellow with pink as a secondary and maybe something else. We have a lot of orange too. A ton of orange. Not to mention 2 double diamonds, a snails, 2 applejacks. Do we have a Sweetie Belle? Can we run white? No Sweetie Belle. Boo.
So we do have, yeah, because Tender Taps is nice, but
We have 2 Rainbow Shines who are also excellent, but there's just not a ton of support in purple. We do have the Holiday Spirit.
yeah, but she's not amazing.
Okay, so the way I see this, and everyone please share your thoughts as well, including everyone in chat. We have a couple different ways that we can build. We've got a lot of orange, including some troublemaker shenanigans with orange and purple as a hybrid, and that could let us do something with that. Or we could go the more typical aggro route with yellow and definitely pink included in that. What, with orange and pink?
I was thinking orange and pink, yeah. I mean, yellow and pink is the obvious aggro choice. It's done so well in so many limit events so far. But orange and pink offers the opportunity to do something a little creative.
Is being creative in a limited environment always the best thing for winning? No. But wherever you're going to find fun in the game, you should take it. If you want to try playing some unique cards because you think it'll be a more enjoyable experience than just running 3 copies of Berry Punch and Orange Swirl and 3 copies of Belly Flop, you know, you do you.
Have we mentioned Snow Dash yet?
We did mention that there was blue entry. And Snow Dash is good.
Yeah, quite good, especially in limited.
And we've got some good blue support.
Especially in blue and pink, because you get rid of cards very quickly. Although they're...
See, and there's these Lyras sitting here, but Lyra is a lie. She will never help you, ever.
Ever?
No, never.
What? She took me to top 16 in Gen Con.
Well, that's because your name isn't Big Cheese, and she doesn't flip with a 75%
10
chance.
times. 10 times. 0 triggers.
Not gonna lie, she's a liar.
Okay, so what do we want to try to do here? Because I'm actually really torn as to how I'd want to build this.
Why don't we start by removing everything that's terrible?
Well, because also there's Double Diamond and Fluttershy, which is a brutal combination.
Sure, let's try to remove stuff that we know we're not going to end up playing.
Professor Flintheart, go away. Yes.
Yes. I also think Gladmane and Octavia should go away.
Yep. Whoa, actually, no, Gladmane with Troublemakers if you're going to go the Troublemaker route.
We only have 3 troublemakers, though.
We only have 3 Troublemakers, we only have 3 mono-white cards, and we're not playing the mono-white main.
Yeah. Good go. Okay, it's gone.
Likewise, I don't think Spike is doing a
Yeah.
whole lot for us.
Not to say that.
Uh,
What about the duck?
What about the duck? The duck is a great card
But
and kind of a mascot. But are we actually going to be playing purple? Also, we should drop Holiday Spirit.
wait, what?
We should drop Holiday
Oh,
Spirit.
okay.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
They
There's
have
2
the
holiday
same
spirits.
subtitle?
Yes.
Yeah, there's 3 cards with
I
Holiday
was
Spirit.
Because we call Pinky Holiday Spirit.
Yeah, but there's actually a purple and an orange one as well.
I forgot about that. Why did I never notice those have the same subtitle?
I don't
Yeah, we
know,
also have
because
the Applejacks.
Pink is the only one that everyone really uses consistently.
Yeah, that's true. I would like to drop the purple Princess Luna Holiday Spirit if that is acceptable with everyone.
Yes.
I'd like to drop Devil Baby.
How about no?
You want to
How
keep
about
her around?
I think Philly Guides should be dropped for the same reason you dropped her last time. Or them.
Yes, I agree.
I'd like to drop Catajack.
I'd like
to drop Catajack, yeah, at my problem.
Dun dun dun.
I'd like to drop the 2 Big Mac Sir McBiggins.
Philly Guides.
And the 2 purple orange cards?
Do we think we're playing purple? The only possible reason to play purple at this point would be for Duck.
Yeah. I mean, and Brewing a Plan. Like, Brewing a Plan's a really good card if you have the tools to back it up. But there's only one of them. The other, like, Cater or Caroler. Doctor Who's Caroler is not great. Starlight can be okay, but again, there's only one. Like, I'm just not seeing purple happening.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think so. I think we can gun purple.
Yeah.
She was
Who
a duck.
else? So are there any other... there's some events. I don't know if you got all those.
Yeah. Spike gone. Rarity and Fluttershy Critter Recruiters is also gone, I think, because we're not playing white.
Yep.
Yeah, I was about to say, is there any other color that we can just cut here?
I think we can just cut white entirely, including the 3 Petite Sneeze that we have here. That's disgusting.
Yeah, we have 7 total white cards, and...
What other removal do we have, though? We have Petite Sneeze and Tough Love.
Look at what we've got. Belly Flop, 2 Funny Business, Pinky's Presence.
I forgot about Pink. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're good there.
Pinky President's a remove.
It steals for a turn.
Yeah.
We
with
also,
the belly flop, yeah. It works.
That's also Defenders of Equestria.
Yep.
Defenders is awesome. I think I want to do that strategy.
I'm also kind of leaning that way. I think we can go ahead and kick white out, including Heart of the Sea.
Yeah.
Yes. Omnipotent Raspberry says Petite Sneeze is awful, and it is not costed well, but it is resource removal in white, which is still more than can be said for pink in the block environment. Or limited environment for that case.
Does pink have resource removal?
Nope.
No, you said block environment.
There's no pink removal in the game. For
Yeah,
resources.
that's what I was.
I'm counting Seabreeze's flower in that.
Oh, sure.
It's yellow. It has a yellow thing on it.
It
Well,
is not a
it's
yellow
colorless.
card.
It's
That is-
yellow. JK.
It is not a yellow card.
JK. All right. Is there any resource removal then in our pool? Period. Outside of Petite Sneeze.
I don't think so.
No, but resources in DOE aren't nearly as impactful as they have been in previous sets either.
Good call.
Risky business isn't a resource.
Oh, you mean funny business?
So let's talk briefly about that, very briefly. Resource removal in a limited environment is still something you may want to consider, especially as we see what sets develop into being more resource heavy than others. For example, in a set like Crystal Games, resource removal was actually very important because there were a lot of impactful resources that could just completely destroy your game plan with things like Magical Mailbox or Study Session. Oh, the good old days of Magical Mailbox.
The best days. So many cards are we at?
Don't. He talked about the dark time.
That's
That
a
would-
little high on the card count.
Taking care of business is a bad card in general.
What where are we anyway on Sorry, what colors do we have still?
Everything except purple and white.
We probably
Okay.
need to cut one of those.
Can you post the updated list?
It does effectively cost 5 fairy because you have to discard 2. Discarding 2 cards is not quite worth the cost of 1 AT per card, but it is expensive. It's slightly over 4. It's about 4.5. A card is worth about 3/4 of an AT.
Although in limited, your cards are kind of worth less.
I don't know.
Maybe
We
yours
opened a
aren't.
Cateject. Now, Ara, the important question I have for you, was this the ultra rare or was it a royal rare? Boo.
I think we're just gonna say it was the royal.
I'm
I
okay
agree.
calling it a royal. Ara, you've been outvoted. It's a royal rare.
So I think we need to cut at least one other color.
I'm leaning towards blue.
It really depends on what we're doing with our main. And I think that's the first thing we need to figure out here. Because we've got great entry into blue as our main, even if Lyra never actually gets us flipped on turn 1 cheese.
Yeah.
And as a reminder, even though we don't have all 6 mains listed up there, remember, for DOE pre-release, you were able to use proxies of any of the 6 mains.
I also don't really like Applejack's ability.
Yeah, I don't think we run Applejack. We know we're not running Twilight, and we're definitely not running Pinkie Pie. So at that point, the choice is basically between Fluttershy,
Flutter.
Rarity, or Rainbow. And Rarity's out as well, because we're not doing anything with white. So we're back to blue and yellow. And that's not uncommon to see in certain limited environments. There are just some mains that are going to do a better job in those environments than others. For example, I would expect that Skystar would probably end up being a very good go-to main along with Seleno in limited, and Grubber probably would be a little more difficult to play in a limited environment.
But he's so good.
In constructed, sort of. We'll touch on that later.
Deck.
So we're down to 50 cards still. Can we get the updated link in the chat bar for Twitch, if possible?
Oh no, I like blue.
Mechanical Disc says he wants to see Fluttershy. And I do like Fluttershy here as well.
And there is the double diamond synergy with 2 double diamonds.
Yeah, that's
Do
the that's
we
the
have
thing
a
that's
banned
kind
card here?
There's no banned cards. Oh, do we?
No, there's
of
no. We don't have
There's no vapor trails.
Yeah, there's no.
Boo.
Unless we want to count Fluttershy as banned because she has a banned card. But
Naughty Fluttershy.
I think we can actually drop Flutter Holly as well. I'm not a big fan of that card
No.
in general.
Agreed.
oh yeah, no.
Just because we do have the 2 double diamonds, I am kind of leaning towards wanting to run Fluttershy as a main. We do
Yep.
have some. We've got some discard synergies with Funny Business too, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
We've got to run Pink as a secondary. That's just too good not to.
So the question is blue or orange?
Well, I think that if we're going Fluttershy, I think that means you need the orange. I would get rid of the blue except for Snow Dash and save that to get rid of later if needed.
Out of the dual colored cards, the only thing in blue was Apple Bloom and Dash and Fluttershy anyway.
Dash and go ahead.
This is true.
It does have Swift, but we also have a Mr. and Mrs. Shy, so that might be overlapping. I do really like Apple Bloom in Limited, though. That card gets out of control and gives us another discard engine.
Yeah.
Engine. It's a car.
I don't get it.
It's a car. It has an
I'm
engine.
thick. I don't get it.
I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay doing what she suggested here, keeping the Snow Dashes, definitely getting rid of the Lyras, definitely getting rid of the Night Gliders, and I think the Shining Armor as well. But I would like to hang on to the 2 Apple Blooms that we have.
Yeah, 'cause we
Also-
still have-
also
have
get rid of,
Citizens.
we have
I was going to add,
one.
we still have Citizens and Join the Herd to get into blue as well.
Yeah.
Great. What else did you want to get rid of, Cheese?
Probably Words of Encouragement. I mean, it's not a bad card, but it is 3 blue. Which I guess Join the Herd does give you. And Snow Dash can give you. But
Yeah, I think Words of Encouragement can probably go.
what about the blue events?
I actually like both of those, but if we're going to drop one, I'd drop Changeling Can Change.
Yeah.
Keep
Just
the burrito
because it is a
attack.
higher rec. I like.
Because we're still running 2 turning points for Troublemaker busting.
I don't know if we're actually running 2 turning points. We've got 2
Oh.
Conning the Con ponies, and we've got 2 Defenders of Equestria. I think those turning points are probably getting cut.
Nice point. Yeah.
Okay, if you... Yeah, none of those. If-
Maybe save 1 just for now.
Okay. And with that, how many cards are we left with? 10 more cuts? Okay.
I'm okay cutting Changeling can change maybe, but its movement option is quite nice.
Where is the changing
Oh.
change? I totally forget which one that is.
It's the blue event, the song.
Oh, there. Okay.
And we got rid of Wonderbolt's Runaway, right?
Yes, we did. Wonderbolt's Runway is gone.
All right.
You mean Pegasus eggs?
I don't think we necessarily need to do Applejack and Pinkie Pie, just because we don't have a lot of troublemakers to guarantee it's going to be getting power. The eccentric one is nice, but it's also in 2 of our off colors.
Yeah, I'd get rid of that.
Yeah, I would agree. So
She flips additional cards, but it is expensive. And
also in the off colors. Apple Bloom is in our off colors too, but she's just so good. Right. And she synergizes or gives us another discard outlet, like I think we already said.
so what about who fielding the Colts? There's one, and
We don't have a lot of critters in this. Well, we have Crappy Star that makes critters. We have the Flying Perinos that make critters.
But we don't-
And
That's it.
that's it.
Yeah, I think we can probably drop Who Fields in the Colts. How do we feel about Appaloosa Buckball team?
wait, where is that?
Yeah, I'm
It's-
looking for it.
It's in the upper. It's in orange.
Oh, it's the
Oh,
orange.
that
Yeah,
one,
333.
It's very good for protecting troublemakers, and its chaos can be good if our main character is going to be getting involved in face-offs. But if we're using Fluttershy, she's going to be exhausted anyway, so that chaos is basically completely lost.
It's really good and limited, though, in my experience.
None.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question I'm really asking with this is, are we willing to sacrifice one of the slots in our home for friends to have this friend remain around?
What other slot are we going to be using?
Well, that's right. That's the question, right? In theory, we could have Trapeze Star that could stay in play for longer and be moving for 1 with Mr. and Mrs. Shy. Mr. and Mrs. Shy is going to be at home always. Snails could be at 4 power. Holiday Spirit could maybe be at 4 power, but that's going to be a little less likely. Defenders of Equestria could end up being big. And apart from that, like Apple Blooms. I guess I'm okay with it. It's pretty good. I think we can cut Snails just because the 1 rec is a little awkward.
Alright.
And we should probably cut Devil Babby. I don't know.
Well, if the only orange card we're going to have is Holiday Spirit, and because we have Apple Bloom in orange as well.
We do.
3.
We have Apple Bloom and we've got the Catajack. That is a card that we kind of want to hang on to.
Yeah. Then Buckball would make sense if we're going to have I don't know. I don't care one way or another.
Are there any other yellow cards we can get rid of?
Tough Love is okay. I'm okay cutting Burrito Attack, I think, since we do have Tough Love and Belly Flop and 2 Funny Business. And a Pinky's Present. And a
Main phase
BBOS.
versus immediate, though.
And Caroler, we're keeping for entry? Oh, Bonbon Caroler, sorry.
A Bonbon we're keeping as a card we can play just off of our main.
That's what I meant. Yeah, off
Yeah.
entry.
So here's a question. If we were to cut the Applejack Holiday Spirits, the Appaloosa Buckball team, I know this sounds crazy, but the Catajack, the Snails, and even the Apple Blooms, and we were to just run the Double Diamonds as a discard option, then we're just running yellow pink. I don't like that as much. I like going lighter on the blue.
How valuable is the blue? I mean, I recognize Snow Dash is pretty strong, but is there anything else from blue really besides the Chipotle attack?
Yeah, the Apple Blooms.
In blue? Oh yeah, Apple Bloom is blue. Yeah. Yep.
We've been over
Yeah.
that card like 3 times now, Leo.
I forgot it was blue. I was only looking at the top and bottoms of the yeah, no, Apple Bloom, definitely worth it. Or just splash blue in just for Apple Bloom. I don't know.
We're at 35.
You're at 35
mean-
cards.
We could just ditch the Troublemakers entirely, and that gets us down to 32.
But troublemakers.
Well, can we at least ditch the Squizzard?
Yeah. I don't think too many people farm in limited.
Can you put? Yeah.
If we're ditching Chipotle Attack, I think we can ditch Changeling Can Change.
Pretty sure it's only been 15 minutes that we've been looking at this deck list or this pool.
Yeah, it hasn't been that long. And generally, you'll be allotted at least the same amount of time in a round that you would have to build your deck, which is 35 minutes, and many stores will allow players a little bit extra just because the people who have a tendency to show up for limited events are going to be less familiar with the cards.
Yeah, I think generally 40 is what I am familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we had dropped Turning Point, or we still kept one?
We had one. Given our 2 options would be Defenders of Equestria, the 2 Dilemmas. I think I'm okay dropping Turning Point.
Oh, is that I thought we were getting rid of Change That Can Change. Are we still keeping it?
No, that's gone.
Oh, why do I...
It does bring us down to 1 immediate removal, I think.
It does, but that's not always the worst. It just means that we're going to be playing a bit more face-off chicken, where we're just trying to set up and predict what our opponent is going to do rather than saving tools to react.
I also
We'll
really
just-
think we should get rid of Devil Babby.
You do?
Yeah, what you can do? Like, we also are kind of movement reliant.
Yeah. Well, we do
Yeah,
have
but-
Fluttershy, but...
That's true. We are movement reliant, though. She's probably hosing our plan more than she's helping it.
Yeah.
Sorry, not sorry.
Berry Punch. JK.
I'm
I've-
I'm tempted to say the Flying Perinos. I've never really been that impressed with it.
Yeah. I was thinking
love
about that card earlier.
Yeah.
It does, but looking at the other discard outlets that we have, we've got 2 copies of Funny Business. And we've got Apple Blooms.
I like the tough love because I like to have more immediate options.
Yeah, and with yellow as our primary, I think I'm okay having that.
So, I mean,
It's
Perinos
the off
or
color.
Buckball team. would probably be the cut.
Yeah, I'd say Perinos can take a hike.
Yeah.
Yay, we did it! I think it was like 25 minutes.
Yeah. So the question would be, actually, it was only 20 minutes, but you're getting rid of tough call? Oh no, the blue one. Okay. Yeah. So the question is, do we keep tough call?
Seeking the Scepter is out. It's gone.
Yeah, it is gone.
Tough Call is pretty good, but we only have 2 pink friends.
Yeah, and only one of them is enough to confront it.
We've also got Changeling Citizens.
Changeling can change.
Yes. Hive Hero?
Yeah, it's the pink yellow event. I mean, character.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, that's
we
right.
do.
I forgot about those. I'm okay with Tough Love then, or Tough Call then.
Was it a tough call to keep?
Oh,
Yes.
I see what you did there.
It's a pretty interesting problem in Limited.
That is a 9, right, on the opponent?
It is a 9.
Okay. Even though it's identical to a 6.
If nothing else, that basically baits a dilemma from the opponent. It's so much to ask to get 9 power at a problem, and we're only required to get basically 3, 4 at that problem, depending on how many double diamonds we have in the discard pile.
Yeah. And then once we get it, we get to move free to the other problem.
Yeah, I'm somewhat okay with it.
At 1 copy, I think that's all right.
Also, I do not remember this episode.
Too many Fluttershies?
Yeah.
You don't?
I don't remember it. I still don't remember.
It's the episode the entire set was based on?
Oh, it's the final. Those are all changelings.
Yes.
I don't know. I've never watched the show before.
Yeah, so we need Concerning Cutie Mark for Fluttershy to flip.
Correct.
So that's gonna be our starting problem. 8-card pileup is actually not a bad card.
I like it a lot with Fluttershy.
Yeah. Do we do 2 Concerning Cutie Marks? Or do we throw in Infiltrating?
I think we keep it. I think
We have enough
Infiltrating is good. Infiltrating is nice because we've got a couple cards that are going to be 2 rec in off colors. And so just having a method of getting that, not to mention more discard synergy with Infiltrating the Hive for the double diamonds, I like having 1 copy of that.
Yeah. You discard 1 card?
2.
2 cards.
2 cards? Okay.
There's actually a lot of discard synergies here in this deck.
Yeah.
And
So I think we're down to 35-1.
We are, in fact, down to 30 cards in the draw deck, 5 cards in the problem deck, and exactly 1 main.
Boom.
Yeah, I think it's not bad.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's interesting for sure.
Wait, I don't think the final link had the mains cleared. There's still 2 copies of Fluttershy.
Nope, there's 1.
Oh.
Yeah, I like it. It's kind of a different route than what we were doing before. There's more removal that's present in here. In fact, there's substantially more removal in here.
I mean, it has pink.
It does have pink. All of a sudden, getting access to pink and belly flop and all those other events means, hey, look what we can do.
So Grandpa's patented formula for success in the Defenders of Equestria sealed environment. Go pink.
Does it have Berry Punch and Orange Swirl and belly flop?
It
If
works.
yes, success.
So now we're going to play these 2 sealed pools against each other, right?
No.
Yeah. Because I'm not doing anything tonight.
I will take you up on that game when our stream is done, Cheese.
Oh
Because
dear.
that actually sounds kind of fun.
Oh dear.
But before we can do that, first, are there any questions from chat regarding any of the discussion that we just had? Anything you would have done differently?
I mean, I would have kept.
Anything where you think we're just idiots and completely wrong, which we are completely wrong sometimes. We'll talk about that here in a moment too.
Well, maybe. Mostly. Sometimes, yes. Shh.
I'm not hearing a lot of naysayers.
Hey, sayers.
Thank you, Trixie.
Hey.
Fairy cards wants some tips for Sequestria. It's difficult to give those tips without seeing the entire set. That being said, I would say play as many Rainbow Dash as you possibly can.
Pretty much.
Yes.
And always play a song with Spike.
She's looking for tips for Limited. The only song we've seen so far is a super rare, and the only Spike that has interactions with songs is an ultra rare, and they're not in the same colors.
We're
No, I'm
probably
just saying.
not going to get both of those at the same time.
Probably not.
On the note
Cards
of,
I'm looking to play, I'm going to abstain from that full list until we get a little closer to the actual release.
Only 7 days, y'all. Oh, less than that.
Yeah, it's not even 7 days.
on the
Do
subject
we-
of songs, shall we look at some spoilers?
Ooh,
Yes.
Spoilers?
Spoilers.
Did I hear spoilers?
You did hear
Yes,
spoilers.
you did.
he's back.
Let's look at spoilers.
Spoil time.
Hey, let's go to space. Actually, you know what? Let's not go to space. Let's be awesome. This is time to be awesome.
Time to be awesome.
I know this game can get you there.
He may have
Open your
lyrics
eyes, dude.
written.
Open your
There
eyes.
may
Wait,
already be
yes.
parody lyrics to this.
Full lyrics.
Maybe.
We've got this together.
So, It's Time to Be Awesome is our first spoiled tricolor card. The implications of this are kind of big. It is a two
Would you say
cost.
they're awesomely big?
No, I would just say they're big.
Would you say
No,
they're
look,
awesome?
I am not Rainbow Dash. I don't need to use the word awesome in every sentence.
Yes.
Okay,
Are you sure about that?
I'm pretty sure about
I'm
that. I
pretty
need to
sure
use-
you need to use awesome 20% more than you are currently using it.
Oh, are we go? No, old meme is old.
Relevant meme is relevant.
I guess. Anyway,
Is that from
It's-
season 1?
it is.
Yes.
Wow.
It's Time to Be Awesome is a 2-cost, 2 requirement in blue, pink, and yellow event with 6 flip, and it is a super rare, and it is a song. And its verses are challenge an opposing troublemaker with all of your characters in play, dismiss an opposing friend, or your characters get +2 power until the end of the turn.
All pretty unimpressive, if you ask me.
Yeah, challenging an opposing troublemaker with no location restrictions, restrictionless removal on any opposing friend, or just mass power boosting your entire board, including your main character, for 2 action tokens is pretty weak.
Yeah, I mean, why are we
figure-
even bothering?
Did we figure out how clouds work?
We're working on it.
Okay.
You kick them, then they rain.
Yep.
And then
If you kick them hard enough, they shoot a lightning bolt.
and then you just don't know what went wrong.
But no, yeah, this is. I didn't know what I would expect from a tricolor event, but this is a good start, right? Like-
Every mode is impactful. The weakest one here is pink. And even that is still not bad. We haven't had a main phase 2-cost, 2-rec dismiss any opposing friend.
Yeah, the closest is Rolling Tones. And
Yeah,
that costs
And that's
3.
3.
and it has a 4-rec.
And it's
Yeah.
immediate though, but
Also,
This
6
would
power.
be funny
so
at immediate speed.
even if you flip this
This would
instead
be-
of play it, it's pretty good.
This would be
Yeah.
terrifying at immediate speed.
Immediate speed challenge and troublemaker on your opponent's turn.
At your score phase,
Jeez.
yeah, it'd be pretty good.
So I know this isn't the right colors for it, but I just want to play this with a spike just to obliterate a troublemaker.
Just gone to to sand with it.
I don't think that's just the sand. Like, you
It's
might
just-
have
I think-
trouble finding it afterwards.
Yeah, I think that is like rainbowing, right?
It might be. That might be
Rainbow
rainbowing.
blasting.
Yeah.
But I know it's not the right colors. But I don't care. I just want someone to do it.
Because it's going to be funny.
It would be funny.
Flitter's gonna do it.
Of course, Flitter's going to do it.
So now we are presented with kind of an awkward situation where we have a card, we have a song that is reasonably costed, has reasonable levels of requirement, a high flip average, and outstanding modes in every single slot, and we're still not necessarily sure if it's going to see constructed play.
3-color aggro decks are hard.
Now the good
They
news
are.
is any two of those colors can work well in aggro. You can have blue-pink aggro, you can have blue-yellow aggro, you can even have pink-yellow aggro. And
Bring
so
back Floofy Critters.
I forgot about that deck. Wow. You just sent me on a nostalgia trip here.
Yeah.
Something, 20%.
Pretty sure that's what made Falcon like $20.
Yeah, it was.
Well,
So with that
Ballroom
being-
Blitz.
Oh yeah, that. So with that being said, if these 2-color decks are capable of splashing a third color just to be able to run a song like this, I could maybe see that being done. And of these, I think the easiest to do that with would be blue and pink, since you might end up running Seabreeze's Flower for resource removal anyway. And hey, there's some yellow entry.
Oh, that is amazing. You just run Kevin's and Seabreeze's Flowers, and there's your yellow.
Yeah, basically.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know how to fit this into a deck right now, but I look forward to trying.
If this deck does see, or if this card does see constructed play, I would hesitate to put it any lower than a 3/5, especially in a heavy control meta, and one that is relying on some key troublemakers.
I mean, I think it's by default a 4. If you are in blue, pink, yellow, I think you have to run this.
I don't know why you wouldn't. That being said, whether or not those decks will actually be willing to make the adjustments to convert it over is what we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Ara, Cheese, Leo, thoughts?
It's okay.
I think you captured it well. I really like the idea of a throwing in the Seabreeze's Flower for yellow, seen as trashed. Doesn't do very well as resource removal if you're playing against a purple deck, which can just banish your trash later. So I like it.
Ara?
Ours is dipped out for a minute. He had a malfunction with his headset.
Ah, understood. Yep.
So to the next card then.
Yes, let us move to the next card.
What is the next card anyway?
I believe our next card is
It's Grubber.
Grubber.
He looks so innocent.
So, Bugle, run us through Grubber.
Grubber is our orange main for the set, and more or less confirms the theory that all of our mains have a no boosted side. He's 1 power, 3 power, 3 home, 4 home, all the standard stuff. And to flip him, you pay 2, and in doing so, you exhaust each opposing character, and characters exhausted this way do not ready during their controller's next ready phase.
So it's like a mass bailout then.
It's like a mass bailout, though there is one minor catch-all that some people miss on first reading.
Oops.
Oops.
Some people possibly on stream.
Oops. Sorry.
That being, he only double exhausts characters that he himself exhausted. So if something was already exhausted, it won't be double exhausted.
Right, and the reason for this is exhausted characters cannot become exhausted again, and that is because exhaustion is technically marked with counters. Quick show of hands, who has ever used a counter rather than just turning their cards sideways to represent when their character is exhausted?
I
know,
did it once.
I know. King Utopia does it every time with the counter.
Well, he's doing it properly, and the rest of us are doing it wrong.
Pretty much.
But characters who have exhaustion counters on them cannot have additional exhaustion counters placed. So Bugle and I had a deck building stream earlier this week where we were looking at Grubber, and we built a deck that attempted to flip him back and forth using Tempest Shadow easy as pie, and just keep the opponent's board permanently locked down. And it turns out you can't actually do that.
Nope.
You can flip him back over, and you can still exhaust all opposing characters, but if you're trying to keep them locked down, you can only really do that once every other turn.
Yeah, and it doesn't do anything to, say, AT gens. That they'll just exhaust them, and then Grubber won't double exhaust them.
Yep, so it's a little unfortunate. But it is still an interesting design in that it is a main who has a very, very easy flip condition, but one that you actually kind of want to wait to play.
Yeah. Anyway, with his correct text, I think I would rate him much lower than with his actual text. I don't know that I would want to play him over any orange main, any of the popular orange mains right now. Aura says 3-5, which is more generous than I'm going to give him. I'm going to give him a serviceable 2-5.
That's about what I was going to do too. He's fine. I like him better than the Applejack from DOE, but you do have to build it differently.
Yeah, but I like him substantially less than Element of Honesty, or rather Ambassador of Honesty, or Mod,
or Luna,
or Apple Vendor.
Yep.
But oh well. Or Orange can take a break from having all the OP mains, right?
No, it can't.
It already did with Apple Bloom.
That's true.
I think this card is K.
2-5 is K.
I mean,
would you go more K than that?
2-7-5.
I'm gonna agree with Aura on do it 3.5. I've built around the exhaustion synergies, and there's some fun stuff that you can do with I forget the Power Pony, Applejack, and some other cards that I don't know.
Okay.
So let's move on.
Yeah, we have different opinions.
Twilight. Pirate Twilight. Totally movie art Pirate Twilight.
Absolutely movie art. This is Barbossa. Princess Twilight Sparkle, Captain Barbossa.
Look at that hat.
It's a wonderful hat. Odds Rarity made that hat.
Pretty high.
It's pretty
ostentatious. Is she wearing pants? I think she's wearing pants.
R says Barbossa wishes he had. I fumbled it.
Yes, he did. It's lost now.
It's on to the ether.
Gone forever.
I don't think it is pants.
That's amazing.
It's also a petticoat. Also, her horn has lens flare on it.
Does it really?
It does. Okay, so enough gawking over the art. Princess Twilight Sparkle is a 4-cost, 2-rec in blue and purple, 2-power friend. So it is at the same level as some of the other purple multicolor friends we saw from DOE that unfortunately didn't see a ton of play. Her ability is, when you play this card, you may frighten each other friend here.
Does that mean all, or is it a 1-for-1 basis?
And that means all. So if you are frightening each other friend, that is different than frightening any number of other friends.
Right.
So when you play it, you've got to choose. You're either frightening everything except her, or you're frightening nothing.
Which is not a good rate.
Yeah, if you're playing this, you should probably be frightening stuff.
I can imagine some nightmare scenario where you really, really just need 2 power on the board right now.
As a friend, and
But
Wait. She frightens herself, you said?
no,
No.
Okay, I
Each
was
other.
going to say, it says each other, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I heard wrong.
So clearly, you play an Appaloosa first, and make sure that all of your friends are greater than 4
Right,
or
so now
3.
we're orange, purple, blue.
Hey, we just made a 4-color sealed deck.
I mean, so purple, orange, blue is fine, and then you just need to splash. What was the last color? What was it? White, and then you've just got Tantabuse back?
yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Anyway, I'm glad you can't portal her. Well, you can, nothing happens except 2 power moved.
Yeah, on Portal, this might have been a little scary. That being said, there's still a few weird things you can do with this. Under the Wire is a card that is in blue and gives one of your friends hasty. So if you really wanted to spend 5 AT and 2 cards to frighten every friend at a problem, you could. I think
just flip Philly second.
I think the thing I like more about this is that it is a pretty good method of mass removal at a particular problem in colors that aren't normally graded at outside of villains.
Yeah, this might be blue purple's not nearly as good party of one, but equivalent.
Mass Frighten does work better with cards like Torch, where your opponent just simply can't dump all the AT into unfrightening all their friends. So that could be a possibility. And yeah, Xerox synergies with this are good.
Yeah, I think there's a fun frightening deck with this. It's fine. That being said, I'm only going to give her.
I'll give her a 2/5 because she's a pirate, so she has pirate synergies.
I've played against some.
Oh, also, we're forgetting. She's Princess Twilight Sparkle. You can transform this.
Yeah, you can transform this, which is good. I hope most of the main 6 in this set, if not all of the main 6 in this set, have a when you play or enters play ability, so that you can transform them.
It would be nice.
Ara says 2.5 to 3.
And
I'm
actually going to agree with that.
Would you play this in limited?
Yeah, because I've seen some really strong, frightening control decks that got the Scariest Cave. They have Goosebump Givers to just lock down anything that the opponent puts into play. The opponent does happen to have a burst of tokens or something. Twilight Sparkle comes in and just shuts all that nonsense down. I think it does have its place.
On your main phase, that's the problem. Your opponent's still getting a full turn with it.
Right. But again, when it's extra expensive to rally your friends, it does its damage.
I think I'm going to say 3. And mostly I'm saying 3 because 2.5 and lower are limited values, and I don't think I personally would want to play this in limited, but I can see some constructed places where I would want to play her.
I could see this in limited. That being said, I'm still going to give it a 3 as well.
Anyway, yeah.
Yep. Next card.
This card can be portaled.
Yes, it can.
It has Tempest.
It has who?
Pizzle Pop Berry Twist.
Her eyes
Caramel
are wrong.
apple.
Her eyes are wrong.
I think she's looking at that apple.
She's like, I just dropped it. 5-second roll?
I mean,
Ara says she
Grubber's
has.
holding it.
Ara says she has murder in her eyes.
So this is a 4-cost, 3 pink and purple rec, 4 pink and purple power, Unicorn and Storm Friend with Hasty, and when this card enters play, you may put an opposing friend on top of its owner's deck.
I like this a lot more than the Sunset Shimmer we got last set.
Weren't you in love with that sunset?
I liked that Sunset when it wasn't restricted to being at a face-off.
Ah. So, I don't think this card
Such
passes
a
the
high-
Thunder Lane test.
Yeah, is it worth that much? Like, 4 cost. So high.
But that's quite a kick in the pants.
One thing that I'm wondering about, especially since we've seen so many high cost cards, we have seen DJ Feel the Beat, I think it is, that does give us a discount on playing cards. I'm wondering if that's going to bring other cards that are going to give us discounts.
DJ Feel the Beat is a 3-cost card on herself. Not only do you have to use additional movement to get your discount on your next friend, you've got to make up her cost too.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I don't think. Plus, you're usually not going to be moving characters on the opponent's turn.
Right. Oh, yeah. That's a good
So I
point.
think-
Ara is giving this a 1.75.
I think I would give this a 2. If I was in pink and purple, I would try and play this in limited. I don't think I want to play this in constructed, but that's fine because pink and purple already have more removal than they can shake a stick at. So I'm okay with not giving them more crazy removal.
Yeah,
I-
I definitely would run this in limited.
I'll say 2. It'd be fun to drop this in limited.
Okay, I'll be the sore thumb here. I'm gonna say slightly over 3 for this card, actually, because pink and purple actually have a lot that they can do together for aggro, especially with the Lemonheart Starsword Research combo. And the fact that pink is still one of the best colors for hard removal, and this card is a method of allowing you to get around friends that can't be
Appaloosa.
dismissed. Right, exactly, if you don't have resource dismissal. And the fact that it's hasty, so you can do surprise face-offs, and the fact that you're in purple, which means you have good forms of AT generation, which means you can potentially make this cost not as impactful. I really like this. And I think there might be some kind of mid-range speed pink-purple aggro deck that you could build in constructed, or like a tempo deck, I guess would be a better example. So I'm going to say a 3.
Okay.
Ara says I said the M word for mid-range, but I followed it with speed. It was hyphenated. It's okay.
Aggro control, farming, and combo.
Yep. Next card.
Is
It's a pearl.
this is our second
It is our second
It also has the same art as Making a Splash, just zoomed out.
Yes, it does. Is ultra rare.
Rar like bear.
Cheese, take us through this one.
It's a card, and it has 7 power, 3 cost. Resource artifact unique. Play to your home. You may pay 1 less for transform cost to a minimum of 1. And main phase, exhaust this card to search your deck for card for transform cost. Reveal it, into your hand, and then shuffle your deck.
I like tutors.
Why did we start adding back shuffle your deck? It doesn't need to say that. I'm annoyed now.
It does not need to say that. It is built into the rules.
I want some consistency. Anyway.
No, this is flexibility, man.
I mean, cards need to be a little flexible to shuffle them, but this is an interesting card. Getting your transform costs down to 1, like that can reduce a 4 cost card down to 1 cost, and it can search for them every turn.
That's true, including the turn it comes into play.
Yeah. The 3 cost is a little high, but
I don't know if I'd want to turn 1 tutor. High flip too, which is nice.
yes, that is nice.
I would play the heck out of this in limited. This thing would get jammed in a deck so quickly.
In limited, why?
Because I think that's the place the transforms are going to end up shining, based on what we've seen so far.
You just want to like throw all your transforms in the deck, although they all have color Rex, so.
I mean, I'll do what I can. Depends on what our color entry is like. Yeah, if we even see it in limited, this is another pipe dream type thing where it's just like, oh, if I get these 3 ultra rares in my limited deck, it'll be great.
I don't know if it's going to see constructed play though. Ara says yay for limited at least.
Yeah, getting your transforms is quite nice. And we have seen some that are impactful. As the set comes out and we see more transforms, if there are any more, then we'll have a better idea of how this would work. But I'd probably put it at a 2/5, at least for now, and then see what happens with it once the full set is spoiled. Cheese?
You want a number from me?
I want a number from you. Give me your number.
I'll say 3.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm going to give this a 1.
Ooh.
Limited filler?
Even with the Sky Stars?
Even with the Sky Stars.
Interesting.
Basically the Sky Star combo, at least of the cards that we've seen so far. We've seen 8 transform cards. 6 of them are incredibly unimpressive for constructed purposes. You don't want to play this in limited.
Why not?
What does it do for you?
Well, number 1, it tutors up a key transform friend from a limited deck, which generally is going to have fewer filtering options.
Sure, but how many transform cards are you expecting to get in your pool that you're going to be running? You're going to have 8 packs, each with 3 uncommons.
Sure. We don't have the full set yet. It's going to depend on
we don't
what's
have
up.
the full set, but based off of what we have right now, I am not excited to play this in either constructed or limited.
If I got 2 transforms in a limited deck, I would run this card.
I probably wouldn't. Your 3 initial investment, you might be getting 2 AT worth of value out of it. Maybe you
Well, you're
if
getting
the most you can get out of this.
You have to be getting at least 2 AT of value out of it because you're not only finding the card, but you're reducing its cost by 1. That alone is baseline.
The most you can get out of it, if you have 2 transform friends in your deck that you can play and transform right now, is 4 AT worth of value.
Are you counting the AT value for finding those friends?
Right. One each for finding them,
What tutor do you have that's finding a friend for 1 AT? Anyway, whatever.
A card is worth 1 AT. Slightly. Approximately.
Drawing a card is worth slightly less than 1 AT. Finding a specific card is worth far more. Anyway, we can sit here and argue about that all day.
Yeah.
I do see what you're saying in that in a limited environment, because most of the transforms we've seen are at uncommon right now, you will be somewhat restricted in terms of how many of those you can actually have.
Yeah. So I'm skeptical for now. My number might change when we actually see the full set.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 3, being that I do really hope and that we get something within the full set that would make tutoring worth it. The other thing is in limited, especially with face-offs, many times you have your 1 or 2 really good cards flip, and once those are flipped, searching for something gives you an opportunity to shuffle your deck again and hopefully get those power cards somewhere near the top. So for those reasons alone, I mean, 2.5, I would say.
That's what I put it at. All right, next card.
Also,
Luna.
I like this card.
well, that makes one of us.
Luna, Princess Luna Midnight specifically, is our first tricolor friend that we've seen. She is 5 cost, 5 power, and 2 rec in orange, purple, and white, which are all pretty synergistic control colors.
Notice those are also the opposite colors of the other tricolor card that we've seen so far.
Yep, and Bugle, you were speculating this means you think those would be the 2 tricolor combinations we'll have in the set?
It's the most logical conclusion I can see, yes.
Okay.
So if we had others, I would have expected them to preview something that wasn't unless it was the song previewing something that wasn't the complete opposite of the one that we have seen.
Right. Luna is an Alicorn royalty, and she is unique. She is stubborn. She has the abilities main phase, exhaust this card to frighten a friend, and opponents can't move characters unless they pay 1 AT.
It's like showy everywhere.
It's different than showy, and that is important.
And that's because showy does not affect mainstream.
You've got it backwards.
It only
Showy
affects main phase movement, correct?
Correct. Showy
Yeah.
only affects main phase movement. Additionally, Luna does not say opponents can't move their characters. Luna says opponents can't move characters. That includes your own.
So that means no frozen Imagicites unless
Right.
they pay 1 extra.
Right. No Frozen Imagicites unless they pay 1 extra. No Ponyville Emergency unless they pay 1 extra. No Cutie Pox Scare unless they pay 1 extra. And you'll notice that those cards all
For
in theory,
each.
Right. No, not for each. The wording of this ability implies that the tax is paid based on the individual instance of movement, regardless of how many characters are being moved simultaneously.
This would, however, be a tax of 1 for everything in your Conga Lane chain.
Correct. So if you are having to wait through successive waves of pre-priority processing to move your friends, like Bugle was saying with a Conga Lane or a Conga Line chain, you're going to have to pay 1 for each of those. Additionally, this is kind of a cool effect to see in a set where movement not only matters, but also has cost reduction effects through things like Pirate Ship. But the big thing that I like here is every single turn, you can just frighten an opposing friend, and you lose nothing for doing so because she's stubborn. She is in orange, purple, and white, which means she's in 2 great colors for getting AT, and she's in a color where she can be reanimated as well, and she's in a color where she can be protected by Appaloosa, and she's got 5 baseline power. This is a threat that must be answered by your opponent.
Yeah, but none of that matters because I hate her colors.
You just played a deck with her colors in a block tournament.
I know, but it offends my flitter sensibility so much. So much. Because it doubles up on the unicorns and doesn't have a Pegasus.
The colors,
I
whatever.
really-
You can't just associate the colors with the main 6.
I wanted tricolor Alicorn Sisters. I wanted them very, very much. And I wanted them to represent all 3 tribes. And they don't.
Alicorns already represent all 3 tribes.
Right, but it's a thematic thing. Like,
Your theming headcanon is different than others.
apparently so. And that's fine, but it personally offends my sensibilities.
Well, that's fair. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion.
That being said, yes, it's a very strong card. And I has the same problems with the song, in that tricolor is not always easy to pull off, but tricolor control is easier than tricolor aggro, so it's more likely to see her.
It's also much easier to play a tricolor friend just because there's so many ways of cheating friends into play without color requirement. Yeah, Ara says these are control colors that don't mind using a card like this as a finisher. It's not necessarily going to be photo finish, but it is 5 power and it is stubborn, which means this can actually help you confront even very difficult problems, including problems like blackmail, which are being run in your deck. It's not quite at blackmail by itself, but it's pretty close.
I don't know. My favorite Princess Luna 5-powered card is Knight Stewart. 5-power, orange, yellow. All my other characters have Diligent. Yeah. No. In seriousness, though, I actually really like this card. Nothing I have is unique that hasn't been said already, so I'm just going to hush.
I guess the other thing that I really want is I want a Celestia that's better than her Luna counterpart just once.
Can't
Just
happen.
once.
Can't happen. She's a worse character.
That is fundamentally incorrect, and you are a bad person for thinking this. Just ask Cursed Chords.
All right, chat. Voting time. Best princess, go.
Cadence.
Dang.
Cadence.
Flurry Heart.
Ara can't say anything, so his vote is invalidated. Ah!
Flurry Heart. All right. Anyway, I do fully expect this card to see play. I don't expect it to be run as a 3-up just because it is very expensive, but I expect a deck
And
that is
unique.
going to run, and unique. But I expect a deck that is going to run this is going to have ways of either finding the AT and color fixing, or is going to be cheating it into play. Orchard Blossom works very well, Redeeming Qualities works very well, and it's probably going to be an orange protected by Appaloosa. I'm shoving this in my Spike deck. This is the other big threat.
So, this is weird, and goes back to why we might want to revisit our numbering scheme at some point. But I'm only going to give this a 3.5 because I don't think you want to put this in every purple, orange, white deck. Probably most of them, but not all of them.
Yeah, that's fair. 3.5 is probably accurate based on our current definition. That being said, it is going to be such a threat in the decks it does go in, and the decks that don't run it will be relatively few compared to the ones that do, that I'll go ahead and bump it up to 4.
No, I can see that justification.
Yeah.
You're being I can't remember the term, so I'm just going to skip it.
Sure. Aura says, Luna says deal with it, and is a 3/5 to a 4.
I mean, he kept saying it was a 5. Now he's dropping it.
Yeah. It was 5, he said, because it had a picture of Luna on it.
It does have Luna on it, but it doesn't have Queen Chrysalis on it. I think he forgot about her.
Ugh.
All right. What's our? Do we have another card?
Oh,
I think that's it for this week.
No, because this card was spoiled on a Sunday at noon. And
Celestia gonna be spoiled at midnight if there is one.
on Monday, yeah.
That's gonna be hilarious.
That would be really troll. Do we think we'll get a Celestia out of this?
If that happened, wouldn't that have been 50 minutes ago? No, it
In
would be 10
midnight?
minutes.
We'll have to see.
Okay, so is he here? Is he here?
No, he's not. I checked.
But he needs to be here so he can spoil it in 10 minutes.
He just gave us a spoiler earlier today.
But
Give
it's
Best-
going to be Monday at noon.
Give
Or
Best Princess some
midnight.
rest.
midnight.
Give Best Princess some rest. Also,
It's always midnight somewhere.
It is always midnight somewhere.
You know,
Well, every 60 minutes.
and sometimes 30, and sometimes 15.
All right. Well, I believe that does cover all our spoilers. Does anyone have any further comments on the cards that we saw? Or questions from the Sealed Pool building? Pony News time. That is her her announcer desk, Mechanical Desiree.
I think
Maybe she'll be up there with more friends sometime soon. Ara asks who wants another Sealed Pool or two.
we're stalling for
Does
spoilers,
Fluttershy
right?
need a pool full of seals?
Does she not?
Rainbow should have picked a seal as a pet, not a tortoise.
Seal would have been pretty good.
Otters and seals cannot fly.
And
Neither
turtles
can
totally can.
Tortoise. Was
Tortoise.
it Fluttershy that was constantly correcting her?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
Well, with that being said, and with us desperately trying to stretch, I think that we'll go ahead and wrap up our discussion on spoilers and Sealed Pools for today. We would like to give a big shout out to all of our patrons on Patreon. Thank you so much for your regular support. And if you are not currently a patron and you do enjoy what we do, please consider donating, because doing so will give you awesome rewards like the ability to vote on polls to determine what kind of future videos we produce, a chance to share your own deck creations to be reviewed live, and even the ability to challenge members of Sim or other patrons to feature duels using some wacky rules. Coming up here in 2 weeks, we're actually going to have a recorded duel between Big Cheese and Cursed Courts, who is one of our patrons.
Yeah.
Kind of duel.
A Blitz duel.
A
What does that
magic
mean?
duel.
Blitz constructed duel, or Blitzball.
Oh, they're playing Blitzball?
Blitzball. Apparently, constructed in German is BAU.
Oh. So no giant spheres of water involved?
No giant spheres of water involved. Anyway, if you do have comments or questions that you'd like to send our way, or if you're just interested in saying hi or wondering what we're working on for the future, there are many ways that you can, of course, stay in contact. We have our Patreon, as we mentioned previously, but we also have a Facebook page at facebook.com/commentaryismagic. We are on Twitter at CIM_CCG. You can email us at commentaryismagicteam@gmail.com, and patrons at or above the $5 per month level get access to our Slack channel where you can chat with us live any day, anytime. If you are looking to watch any of our previous videos, including tournament recordings, you can find them on our YouTube channel linked in the sidebar, and please make sure to subscribe while you're over there so we can fix our channel URL. Apart from that, everyone have a fantastic time at pre-release. If you are looking for even more pre-release action, I believe we're going to be streaming 2 pre-releases here in California, one on Saturday and one on Sunday. We'll make sure to announce that through all our regular channels. Until then, thank you to each and every one of our viewers, both here now and watching this recording later. I am, as always, Grandpaws.
I am Emperor Buell, and please give me all your Skystar Ultra Rares.
Big Cheese. And our cat says maybe no.
And Living Silver.
Have a great time at pre-release, everyone. We'll see you soon.
But
Good night.